As we've seen, conditionals allow you to run a piece of code once if a condition is true. Loops, on the other hand, allow you to run a piece of code multiple times, depending on whether a condition remains true. For example, while there's food on your plate, you should keep eating, or, while you still have dirt on your face, you should keep washing. While condition stops being true. By writing a while loop, you are saying, keep doing this while this condition is true. Stop when the condition becomes false. As figure 6-4 shows, while loops start with the while keyword, followed by a condition in parentheses and then a body in braces. Figure 6-4. General structure of a while loop. Like an if statement, the body of a while loop is executed if the condition is true. Like an if statement, after the body is executed, the condition is checked again, and if it's still true, the body runs again. If cycle goes on until the condition is false. Counting sheep with a while loop. Say you're having trouble sleeping and you want to count sheep. You're a programmer, so why not write a program to count sheep for you? Var sheep counted equals 0. While sheep counted. Console.log I have counted. Sheep counted. Sheep counted. Console.log zzz. We create a variable called sheep counted and set its value to 0. We reach the while loop. We check to see whether sheep counted is less than 10. Because 0 is less than 10, the code inside the braces. The body of the loop runs, and I have counted sheep is logged as I have counted 0 sheep. Next, sheep counted adds 1 to the value of sheep counted. And we go back to the start of the loop, over and over. This repeats until sheep counted becomes 10, at which point the condition becomes false. 10 is not less than 10, and the program moves on to whatever comes after the loop. In this case, it prints zzz. Preventing infinite loops. Keep this in mind when you're using loops if the condition you set never becomes false. Your loop will loop forever, or at least until you quit your browser. For example, if you left out the line sheep counted, then sheep counted would remain 0, and the output would look like this. I have counted 0 sheep. 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 Because there's nothing to stop it, the program would keep doing this forever. This is called an infinite loop. For true, the variable at the end of each turn around the loop. When setting up a for loop, you create a variable, specify the condition, and say how the variable should change after each cycle or before you reach the body of the loop. For example, here's how we could use a for loop to count sheep. For var sheep counted equals 0, sheep counted. Console.log I have counted. Sheep counted. Sheep. Console.log zzz. As figure 6-5 shows, there are 3 parts to this for loop, separated by semicolons. The setup, condition, and increment. Figure 6 to 5. Th. E general structure of a for loop. The setup var sheet counted equals 0 is run before the loop starts. It's generally used to create a variable to track the number of times the loop has run. We create the variable sheet counted with an initial value of 0. The condition sheet counted is checked before each run of the loop body. If the condition is true, the body is executed. If it's false, the loop stops. In this case, the loop will stop once sheet counted is no longer less than 10. The increment sheet counted is run after every execution of the loop body. It is generally used to update the looping variable. Here, we use it to add 1 to sheet counted each time the loop runs. For loops are often used to do something a set number of times. For our example, this program will say hello. Th. Re times var times so say hello equals 3. For var I equals 0, I console dot log hello. Here is the output. Hello. 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 If we were the JavaScript interpreter running this code, we would first create a variable called times to say hello and set it to 3. We reach the for loop, we run the setup, which creates a. Using for loops with arrays and strings. One very common use of for loops is to do something with every element in an array or every character in a string. For example, here is a for loop that prints out the animals in a zoo. Var animals equals lion, flamingo, polar bear, boa constrictor. For var I equals 0, I len I console dot log. This zoo contains a animal C. In this loop, I starts at 0 and goes up to 1 less than animals.len, which in this case is 3. The numbers 0, 1, 2, and 3 are the indexes of the animals in the animals array. This means that every time around the loop, I is a different index, and animal C is another animal from the animals array. When I is 0, animal C is lion. When I is 1, animal C is flamingo. And so on. Running this would output. This zoo contains a lion. This zoo contains a flamingo. This zoo contains a polar bear. This zoo contains a boa constrictor. As you saw in Chapter 2, you can access individual characters in a string in the same way you can access individual elements in an array, using square brackets. This next example uses a for loop to print out the characters in a name. Var name equals Nick. For var I equals 0, I len I console dot log. My name contains the letter Namia. This would output. My name contains the letter N. My name contains the letter I. My name contains the letter C. My name contains the letter K. Other ways to use for loops, as you might imagine, You don't always have to start the looping variable at 0 and increment it by 1. 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, 8192 and boiler. This short for loop prints out all the powers of 2 below 10,000. Try it out. Write a loop to print the powers of 3 under 10,000. It should print 3, 9, 27, etc. Rewrite this loop with a while loop. Hint: provide the setup before the loop. In this chapter, you learned about conditionals and loops. Conditionals are used to run code only when a certain condition is true. Loops are used to run code multiple times and to keep running that code as long as a certain condition is true. You can use conditionals to make sure that the right code is run at the right time, and you can use loops to keep your program running as long as necessary. Having the ability to do these two things opens up a whole new world of programming possibilities. In the next chapter, we'll use the power of conditionals and loops to make our first real game. Try out these challenges to practice working with conditionals and loops. 1. Awesome animals. Write a for loop that modifies an array of animals, making them awesome. For example, if your starting array is var animals equals cat, fish, lemur, Komodo dragon, then after you run your loop, it should look like this. Awesome cat, awesome fish, awesome lemur, awesome Komodo dragon. Hint: you'll need to reassign values to the array at each index. This just means assigning a new value at an existing position in the array. For example, to make the first animal awesome, you could say animals 0 equals awesome animals 0. To random string generator, make a random string generator. You'll need to start with a string containing all the letters in the alphabet. Var alphabet equals appdef_of. To pick a random letter from this string, you can update the code we used for the random insult generator in Chapter 3 math.floor/math.randomalphabet.len. This will create a random index into the string. You can then use square brackets to get the character at that index. To create the random string, start with an empty string var random string equals. Then, create a while loop that will continually add new random letters to this string, as long as the string length is less than 6 or any length you choose. You could use the equals operator to add a new letter to the end of the string. After the loop has finished, log it to the console to see your creation. 3H4CK3RSP34K. Turn text into H4CK3RSP34K. A lot of people on the internet like to replace certain letters with numbers that look like those letters. Some numbers that look like letters are 4 for E, 3 for E, 1 for I, and 0 for O. Even though the numbers look more like capital letters, we'll be replacing the lowercase versions of those letters. To change normal text to H4CK3RSP34K, we'll need an input string and a new empty to the output string. After the loop, log the output string to the console. If it works correctly, you should see it log J4V4SCR1PT1S4W3S0M3. In this chapter we'll build a hangman game. We'll learn how to use dialogue